participants. With this, all the best. And thank you very much, Anup. Anup, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am, for briefing about the sessions. I request our respected director, Sri S.P. Bhutia, sir, to inaugurate this particular inaugural session of the lecture session and to address our participants. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, Anupji. A very good morning to all. Respected Director Dr. Nisarani Madam, Senior Core Faculty Sri Anupji, and dear participants from all 122 universities and colleges, educational institutions from various part of India. A hearty welcome to this training program on application of space technology in geoscience and engineering. So, as you all know, Geological Survey of India Training Institute has been given this mandate for giving training and capacity building in the best interest of our country. And role of GSI, GSI has been given mandate for mineral exploration in the country, which will ultimately help in the economic growth of our country. And this is the year we are celebrating the 75th year of India's independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So under this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, our PGRS division under the leadership of Dr. Nisarani Madam has come forward to share their knowledge and expertise with you all how this space technology, the application of space technology will be helpful in your respective areas of activity. So my sincere request to all the participants to be proactive during the training period and be interactive. Feel free to interact with our core faculties and try to clear your doubts without any hesitation. Please come forward and try to get maximum benefit out of this course. And we are having here Dr. Nisarani Madam, who is having specialization in this hyperspectral remote sensing, and you all know its importance. And many students, basically, it will be very much helpful for you to apply this knowledge in your research activity. Not only in research activity, it will help you to build your future career also. So that is why you are getting a rare opportunity here to interact with very senior core faculties. And in your competitive examinations also, these 2 days interaction definitely is going to help you during when you are attending for any interviews or writing any competitive examinations. Definitely it will help you to build your career in future. So with this, I wish you all the best. Try to enjoy this online program, and now I can say you please go ahead with this program.
Thank you, sir. Anup, we'll take one group photograph.
Yeah, ma'am. I request all the participants to switch on your video cam for a moment so that we can have a group photograph virtual. I request the participants to switch on the video cam for a while.
Sir?
Yeah, please.
Tell me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, tell me, sir, about the course.
Now we will be having a group photograph. So just requested to on the video cam. Then after that we will continue.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you participants. Thank you for on the cam. So thank you very much for all. So by this, we will be concluding our inaugural session. I would like to thank our respected Director, Technical Coordination of GSITI, Sri SP Bhutia sir, for chairing this inaugural session and addressing our participants. I also thank Dr. Nisha Rani ma'am for taking up this particular e-lecture session under the banner of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, when we are celebrating our country, celebrating the 75th Indian independence. Thank you, ma'am, for coordinating and initiating this training program, lecture session program for the student community. And also thank all the head of the departments and you all participants who shown your interest to join with us for the 2 days for attending the e-lecture session. So through this, as ma'am and sir has mentioned, through this we will be coming to know more detail about the subject and the working nature of GSI, GSI, and our upcoming training programs, which will be definitely beneficial for the students as well as research scholars and faculties. So all these things we'll be discussing in our coming session. So thank you each and everyone for joining this session, all the dignitaries and participants. So with the permission of the chair, we will continue our lecture session, sir. So thank you for joining us. Thank you very much, sir. So ma'am,
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Director Coordination, Technical Coordination, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Please go ahead with the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
okay, sir. So participants are requested to stay back. We will start the lecture session in 5 minutes. So first lecture will be delivering by Dr. Nisha Rani ma'am, followed by one more session will be there. So we will have our lecture session in the forenoon only. There won't be any afternoon sessions on both the days. So both the lecture sessions we will be completing by 1 p.m. So please bear in the first half. Okay. So ma'am, we will start in 5 minutes. So
Okay,
participants, please
thank
speak.
you. So participants be there, and whoever have not joined, let them join Anu. So
Yes,
in
I
5
have taken
minutes,
message.
just if you want to go for water and tea, you just have your tea and coffee, and then come back. We'll start within 5 minutes. Okay. So once again, good morning to all. I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
So shall I start?
Yes,
Good morning, madam.
Good morning. So I'll start by session, and my request is that if any doubt is there, any question is there, please chat in the chat box, okay? Or anything else is there, you can speak over you can unmute yourself and you can discuss with us. So don't hesitate, because we are here to discuss the things, and it's a one kind of friendly interactive session. No, it's not like you don't know the subject so you cannot discuss the things. No, it is not like that. So feel free and discuss with us, okay? And whatever possible answers we can give, definitely we will try to give the answers, okay? So I hope the PPT is also visible to everyone, right? It's in the PPT mode. Okay, fine. So Anup, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so means our screen is okay, and I'll just take the photograph also, because sometimes photographs are also required. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So friends, I'm going to discuss today, because we are going to discuss especially on application of space technology in geosciences and engineering. But before that, I would like to discuss few things about our GSI as well as our training institute, and what is our basically roles and responsibility for the nation building and capacity building. That is the main. So any one of you are knowing when GSI has been established? Any one of you, any idea?
1851, ma'am, it's written Geological Survey of India established 1851.
Very good. At least study is aware of that oh, very good. So I'm very happy that some of the participants, they know that when GSI has been established. And do you know it's
No, I just saw the picture.
that's great. Okay, fine. So at least and do you know it's a second oldest organization in the world? So just you should feel proud that we are the oldest organization serving in the world. Okay, survey after survey, we are the oldest organization who are serving. So we have the means long history, or we have the very means we have uh, legacy of the informations, we can say. So Geological Survey of India, it was established as on 4th March 1851, and we are the major stakeholder, or we are the major or national agency which is playing a major role in the geosciences. Okay, and we feel our organization seems it's a very small organization, but it is not like that. We are playing a major role in the nation building, capacity building, and we are not only we are doing for the mineral investigation, but also we are doing geophysical survey, we are doing marine survey. Okay, we are the nodal agency for the landslide. We are having the training institute, especially and exclusive for the geosciences applications. We are conducting training program, not only for our own organization, but also for other countries, as well as for other organizations in our country, for research scholars, for faculties, for working professionals from state government or central government. So even though it seems GSI is very small organization, but it is not like that, because we are not interacting with the people. Our work is not related to public dealing. So most of the time people don't know what is GSI, but GSI is the biggest organization in the field of geosciences. So if you'll go to the GSI, do you know where is our headquarter? Anyone?
Hyderabad.
Kolkata.
Kolkata.
And like I think there are councils like Eastern, Western, Northern, Southern. I think.
No. Every office is having some headquarter. Okay. Whatever government organization is there, every government organization is one headquarter. So do you know where is our headquarter? Some of us,
Hyderabad.
you are right actually.
Okay.
So somebody has told that it's Kolkata. That is correct answer. Our headquarter is for the Geological Survey of India. Our headquarter is Kolkata. That is the right. And just you see what I have written: ground survey, airborne, marine survey, mineral prospecting and investigation, multidisciplinary, geoscientific, geotechnical, geoenvironmental, natural hazard studies, glaciology. Do you know we have exclusive glaciology division also, seismic tectonic study we are doing. Not only that, we have a specific office in Faridabad where we are doing the expedition in Antarctica and Arctic. Do you know? If any one of you interested, please join our organization. We have expedition in Antarctica and Arctic. So for the 6 months, our officers are going there, they're staying there.
How to
Okay.
join this? Ma'am,
How
how to
can
join
we
this?
join? How
You
can
have
we?
to qualify UPSC.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
UPSC, that means after degree.
Yes, you have to qualify
Okay.
UPSC. So it is means we are doing lots of work, lots of work. So you just imagine if you are interested for the Antarctica and Arctic,
I'm
so
sorry
you
for
can join.
interrupting, ma'am. For example, now we are at a younger age, so after completing a degree, so we can give the UPSC. And for example, like I can say that I will crack UPSC. For example, someone cracks UPSC.
See, after
So how can
MSc
the
or
people
your
do it?
post graduation only, you can opt for the UPSC.
They can be of any field, irrespective of being. Like they can be of any, like engineering, medical science, or anything, or they should be.
GSI is especially for for the people who are opting geology. That is the field. And for Antarctica, Arctic, especially we are considering geology.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
Mm.
So we have to means if you are interested to join the GSI, we have to crack UPSC exam. Okay. So you just see it, GSI, as I told you, GSI is a big organization. So we have divided into different missions also. Mission 1, where we are doing the baseline geoscientific and data collection, field work and all is related to our mission 1 especially. Then mission 2, natural resource assessment, where we are doing for the mineral exploration, especially because we are again playing a major role in GDP. Okay, because if we are able to identify any mineral deposits, obviously we are going to play a key role. Then geoinformatics, where we are talking about your geodata and GIS database. Okay, and mission 4 can see multidisciplinary sciences.
Multidisciplinary GSS.
Okay, and another mission is 5, that is exclusive for the training and capacity building. You can see. So today I'm discussing under this training and capacity building, because this is exclusive for the training and capacity building. Shiva Shankar, please mute yourself.
म्यूट कर दिए ना, ठीक है ना.
So you just see our office locations. You can see our headquarter. GSI is coming under Ministry of Mines. Our headquarter is in Kolkata. Other than that, regional offices, we have 6 regional offices like Lucknow, Jaipur, Nagpur, Hyderabad, Shillong, and Kolkata. We have several offices at different locations. Almost every major city, we have one office. And state units also. Almost all the states of the country have one office for GSI. Just imagine if we have 28 states, means minimum 28 office we have at least. Okay. So like that, we have the organization. So entire country we are working day and night, and our contribution, our work is too much. And as I told you, we are the oldest organization, second oldest organization in the world. So we have the huge legacy also of the data information related to geosciences. Okay. So now I'll discuss about the GSI-TI. See, GSI-TI, it was established, 1976. Earlier, our headquarters for the GSI-TI was Raipur. But in 1978, that headquarters was shifted to Hyderabad. So today I'm conducting this lecture session from Hyderabad office because we are here, especially in Hyderabad headquarters. But other than that, also we have several training institutes. You just see it, original training divisions. You can see these red dots, whatever you are seeing. These are our offices where we are conducting trainings. So this Lucknow, Jaipur, Nagpur, Shillong, Kolkata. And other than that, we have field training centers. If you are belonging from South India, so probably you are knowing that Chitradurga is there. Our training center is there. Okay, so most of the time we are conducting some field training also. So you can see it here, Chitradurga,
Chitradurga is in
Raipur,
Karnataka,
Kuju,
no? The Chitradurga, that iron ore mines or something.
Kuju, and Jawar. So we have means again we can see it that entire country we are covering for the trading purpose also. From headquarter, in headquarter very specialized divisions are there. But other than that, we have several training divisions where we are conducting regularly some training program for the working professionals, for the research scholars, for the faculties, for GSI and central government and state government. So for everyone we are covering different training programs. So our uh, TI, if you have not visited our TI, so you can see our campus. This is our main building where this is the building where I'm sitting. This is our main building, and here this side our administrative building. This is the main building where our DDG is sitting, our headmaster 5 is sitting, our director technical coordination is sitting. So this is the building, and in front of this, if you see it here from here, so you can see our campus is very beautiful campus. If you are coming to our campus, definitely you are going to enjoy that campus. Okay. So other than that, you can see it here, what type of trainings we are conducting from headquarters. You can just see we have different divisions like your CGMT is there, petrology. If you want to, if you are interested for the petrology training sessions, you can attend chemistry or NCMT, National Mineral Targeting Division is there. Then planning and programming is there. Then technical coordination division. Other than that, photogeology and remote sensing division, which is our division, that is also there. So these are very specialized training divisions. We are conducting training programs for not only for our Indian participants, for GSI, state government, central government, but also we are conducting training program for the foreign countries also. So for the remote sensing, we have lots of demands are there. Huge demand is there for the conducting training programs for remote sensing and GIS. So you just imagine how much means demanding subjects are there, and we are catering the need of everyone. Okay. So other than that, we are conducting different training programs like a refresher course on remote sensing and digital image processing, a course on voltage zone mapping using image processing of multispectral, hyperspectral data, application of remote sensing and GIS and disaster mitigation. This is exclusively for the people who are in GSI or central government or state government. Other than that, we are conducting several training programs, as I told you, for international program. You can see it for the international participants, exclusive for the participants like research scholars and faculties. You can see it here. One is for remote sensing in GIS and mineral exploration. If you are interested, you can join us. And this application of geoinformatics for disaster management. So we have conducted this training program, application of remote sensing and GIS in mineral exploration already is over. From 10th onwards, this is scheduled, geoinformatics for disaster management. If you are a research scholar or working faculty, professional or faculty, so you can apply for this this training program because Monday onwards it is going to be conducted. Other than that, we are just, these are some of the photographs you can see, like some participants from foreign country, they have visited our country. That time we have took the photograph. We have lab facilities, like you can see we are telling about the aerial photographs. We are teaching individually, we are means we are guiding each and every participants like this. You can see our digital lab is there, and you can see your satellite image processing interpretation is being done. And in our lab, different softwares like NV is there, AirDAS is there, ArcGIS, and high-end computers are there. So Sorry for the disturbance. So we have very high-end computers, we have softwares, we are giving attention to each and every participants in the headquarters whenever we are conducting any training program. Other than that, in February, we are going to conduct another training program, that is application of remote sensing in disaster management under this Amrit Bharat Kamrit Mahotsav only. If you are interested, please join us this one, because again, we are going to consider the students, PG, post-PG students, research scholars, geoscientists, engineering, and faculty. So this is open for all. You can join. And this course, as I have already told you, that it is for the research scholars and faculty members and working professionals. So if you are interested, please join us this program also. But it is for not one day, it is a 20 days program. Okay. So other than that, if you are interested, you can join our website. Probably some of you have registered also. So you just see it. We have several programs, as I told you. Exclusive website is there. Your training.gsiti.gov.in. Just log in that. You can register, and you can register for the subjects. Like if you can just see it here from divisions. There are several divisions are there. In that, photogeology and remote sensing division is there. And we are offering 2 courses for the participants. Anyone can join that. There is no foundation that you should have engineering background or geoscience background. There is no restrictions. If you are interested, you can join. So we are giving 2 training programs: basics of remote sensing, another is remote sensing in mineral exploration. So this basics of remote sensing is having 10 chapters actually. So you have to attend one by one, and you have to qualify that, and you are going to get the certificates for both the training programs if you have your registered. So total duration for completing this training program, whatever is available on online, 30 days is given. So you can continue it, and you can just, according to your comfort, you complete it and get the certificate. So you're going to get the certificate also. Just see it. Last week I have seen this. Total participants for both the training programs we have, you can see it here, 2,266 participants are registered. Just imagine how much demanding subject is there in remote sensing. So for basics, you can see more than 1,200 people are have joined, and more than 1,000 people are there for the mineral exploration. So just imagine how much this remote sensing is useful. So if you are interested, you can join it. It is very useful training program. So it's a free of cost. Just imagine, remember, it's a free of cost. We are not asking for registration any fee. For your lecture sessions also, we are not going to ask any fee. It's a free of cost. So as per your convenience, you can attend this training program, and you can complete your training program within 30 days. And accordingly, you can get the certificate also. And that certificate is valid certificate. So you can produce that certificate for your future also. So for any training program or anything, if you require, you can contact us. We have 2 websites. You can just visit gsi.gov.in also, and training website, we have exclusive training website. So you can visit that also. For any training, you can contact our DDG and mission head file. This is the email ID. And for PGRS related thing, if you are interested, you can contact me or Anup. Both are there. So we have given our email IDs and all. You can go through that. And if you require, you can write the mail. And any doubt is also there in future also, you can contact us. So with this, I've finished my role and responsibility of remote sensing, but I'll go to the today's main topic actually. I hope this is useful for you and you are able to understand, right?
Right, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to take another class which is basically more useful for your work. In fact, I can say, just give me 1 minute, huh?
Okay, madam.
So, once again, welcome to our lecture session. So my PPT is visible, right? I'm audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
so
Yes,
I'm
madam.
going to discuss about the remote sensing. What is remote sensing? How it works? Okay, so as we know that remote sensing is a science of acquiring, processing, and interpreting images and related data, which is acquired from aircraft or satellite, and that records the interaction between matter and electromagnetic energy. That is the remote sensing. Remote sensing means you want to get the information about any object on the Earth's surface or anywhere, any object without coming into physical contact of that particular object. That is your remote sensing. And that object or whatever information we are getting, actually that is because of the interaction between matter and electromagnetic energy. Okay, because of that only we are able to do the remote sensing. If any doubt is there, please let me know. So are you able to understand what I'm trying to say you? What is remote sensing?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So, okay. So once we are talking about the remote sensing, there are some things, few things are very important, like fundamentals which we can say, like we should have, as I told you, electromagnetic energy. So from where we are getting that electromagnetic energy? That is source of electromagnetic energy is basically sun. So we should have sun, and some incidence of light on the Earth's surface should be there. And on Earth's surface, what is there? We have different buildings, we have water, we have vegetation, we have dense forest area, bare soil we have roads and all. So whatever sunlight is striking on the surface, it is going to interact with these objects. Okay, and whatever after interaction, whatever light is being reflected from the surface of the particular object is basically going to be recorded by the sensor. And once it is being recorded, so we are able to see the imagery, and accordingly we are able to see the information, or we are able to get the information about particular object. That is part of your remote sensing. This is a very fundamental part of our remote sensing. So once we are talking about the remote sensing, as I told, interaction should be there. So source of energy should be there. So energy source or illumination in natural cases, what is there? That is your sun. Another thing is there, radiation and atmosphere. See, from sun and earth, between there we know that there is one atmosphere. Okay, so once atmosphere is there, so whatever light is on the surface, there are chances because of the atmosphere, radiation will be there, and obviously effect of atmosphere. I'm not audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
No, ma'am, audible, sir.
Okay, so please check your network. Sometimes because of network issue, we are not able to listen. So no problem. If anything you're missing, please let me know. I'll explain it. Huh? So as I told you, three things are very important: absorption, transmission, and reflection. So if it's transmitted, there is no use. If it's absorbed, again there is no use. We are interested in a reflected light, because the light which is reflected from the surface of the object, that is going to be recorded by the sensor. So your fourth point is recording of energy by the sensor. That is an important process. Then after that, once it is recorded by the sensor, it should be transmitted somewhere, right? So probably you might have seen such kind of stations on somewhere. If you are from Hyderabad or if from Bangalore, probably you have seen, or if you have visited some airport, so such kind of antenna you have seen. What is that? Basically, that is the antenna which is receiving the signals from different sensors. So this transmission, reception, and processing will be done. transmission, reception and processing will be done at this station. So whatever data we are seeing will be captured there. Okay.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Please let me finish it, then ask me question. Okay. Then after that, interpretation and analysis is there. Once you have that satellite imagery, so what you are basically you are doing interpretation and analysis, and after that, according to our use, we are utilizing it. Like different applications we have, we are utilizing. Yes, please ask me the question.
Yes, sir. As we know that when this electromagnetic energy, okay, it passes through the atmosphere, so some scattering also occur, atmospheric scattering. And as we see, when this electromagnetic energy interacts with the object, so sometimes the three phenomena occurs. Means some of the energy is transmitted through it, some is absorbed, and a little part is reflected. So
Right.
it depends that if the little part is reflected, it should have the energy to reach this satellite. Again, it has to pass through atmosphere. But in books,
Right.
we have seen that atmospheric scattering only in terms of the incident. But when it's reflected, so then also it can means atmospheric scattering can occur, or due to means we may not get the proper data regarding the satellite. So
Yes, you are
regarding
very right actually,
not mentioned.
Ripple. You are absolutely right. What you are saying, because you are knowing probably more about remote sensing, because that is also one part. So once we are doing this processing and all, we are eliminating whatever you are telling, whatever interferences of the atmosphere is there while coming and while going also. Good condition that is taken care by the center. Once into the ocean also and reveal hidden secrets inside the ocean. No. The remote sensing is having one, especially what optical remote sensing we are talking. So it is having one uh, we can say, or some constraints we can say. Okay. So only on the surface, with the surface of the materials. Geophysical survey, the ground geophysical survey is also part of remote sensing. In that case, you are going to get the subsurface information. In that case, okay. So remote sensing where we cannot get depth information because only surface information we are able to get. Is that clear to everyone? I hope a remote sensing process is clear to everyone. Okay.
Reflection. So as we
Yes.
are only counting for that reflection part, a huge part of the information is getting lost. Only interested in that reflected part of the light. So how do we compensate with
Right.
the part of information that we lost? Like some will get for that information. How do we compensate?
See, it is not like we are losing every information. Every object is having some characteristics, okay? And some objects, they are going to absorb the light. It is not like every object on the surface is going to absorb the light. It is not like every object is going to transmit the light. Every object is having some characteristics. It is not like every part, every object is doing the same thing. Like if it's a water, probably there are chances that water is your light is going to transmit through it. Okay, but at the same time, if you have some surface, very clear cut surface is there, light reflectance will be high, more in fact, especially if it light shade or something like that. Okay, and if it's a black color body, so we know that black color body basically it is absorb the light. It depends many things. The compositional, it depends on the composition of the particular material actually. It is not like we are going to lose the information. It is not like that. It is going. We are going to lose the information. We are not going to get the true picture. Why? some processing is being done, and some atmospheric correction is also applied on the sensor, your data, so that we can see the actual picture of the data, or in picture of the information, whatever is there on the surface. Is that clear to you now, Soumya?
Yes, ma'am.
As I told you that electromagnetic energy is magnetic radiation. So we know that means all the object at temperature above than 0 Kelvin, it emits some electromagnetic radiation. Okay. So your physics class, you're knowing that electromagnetic radiation is a form of energy transported through the space in the form of periodic disturbance of electric and magnetic fields. Because of that, we are able to see the electromagnetic radiation. And this electromagnetic radiation is very important. Because of that only we are able to do the remote sensing. Otherwise, we are not able to do any kind of remote sensing. So probably you might one wavelength range actually. Gamma rays, X-ray, ultraviolet, we have visible rays, infrared, and radio waves are there. So it is very clear, visible range only we are able to see. Our human eyes can see visual range only. So whatever color concept we have, red color, blue color, green color, basically what is that? That is one kind of wavelength range. Okay, and every wavelength range is defined by some value. So here you can see if it is wavelength range is basically represented in terms of nanometer or micrometer. Okay, mostly we are talking about in terms of nanometer or micrometer. So 400 to your 500 in between or something like that. You have some this we call it now your indigo or blue, whatever is there. I'm sure we call it now violet, violet, indigo, blue, green, red, orange, like that. So you just see 400